Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to reading for September of 2024. Happy birthday, Virgo. And also, we are going to jump right in here. You have this higher power card, and this fork in the road card. So this could represent, having a choice to make or a decision to make with that fork in the road card. That fork in the road card pretty much says, the new path is the right path. It kind of just says, pick the new path, right? But you do have this higher power card, so you could be being guided at this time, and I would definitely, pay attention to any sign, symbols, synchronicities, anything that's like repeating in your life, anything that you think is a sign or symbol or synchronicity. Sometimes people ask me, they'll say like, oh, I was driving down the road and I saw this sign that said yes. I'm like, well, if it felt like a sign to you, then it probably was a sign, right? So, it could be anything. And I would really pay attention to the signs and symbols that you're getting, because they're probably, trying to guide you towards, a new direction or towards something bigger and better. And, that's really what this reading kind of looks like to me. Even this last row, it looks scary, but this last row represents the good stuff. And so this would be more of like you seeing how something that didn't work out was like a blessing in disguise, and we'll talk about it in a minute. You have the Three of Pentacles, the Page of Cups, and the Nine of Swords. The Three of Pentacles, of course, it can represent teamwork, but, in your reading, I feel this is more talking about the quality of the work that you do, and the Three of Pentacles is a card of a quality work. This guy here, he has done a good job building those three pentacles, and he's, these people are kind of like appreciating the work that he has done. And so I feel for a lot of you that this kind of has to do with the attention that you get on your work as well. We go down Eight of Wands to the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands right here. And the Eight of Wands would represent kind of the way that your work is communicated to the world. So for those of you that, work in social media, even if you don't, it's like your work does communicate, right? And even to your boss or whatever. And so I kind of get this feeling that you could be changing the way that your work communicates with the world, exactly like I just said. So there's a million ways to do that. You could be changing the way you present your work, the way that you show off your work. You could be changing the messaging for your business or for your career or whatever. And I think all those things would be a really good idea. We have the Nine of Pentacles here as well. Nine of Pentacles can represent like new wealth or new wealth opportunities. And yeah, it just looks really, really good. You have the Page of Cups. I do feel there's a little bit of love here. I would be careful of moving too quickly with a person, especially we do have the Ten of Swords here. Again, the Ten of Swords would say that you're seeing how maybe a new connection, how, a past one failing is leading to something new and greater. And it could say that, obviously you're seeing how it was a blessing in disguise that you didn't maybe end up with the last one, right? But what I would say is the Knight of Swords still says, like, don't rush. Like, don't rush right into something. Take your time, equal give and take, all that other good stuff, because you don't want this one, if you are attracting a new person, it could be a good person, and, you don't want it to move too quickly. You have the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is like a never-ending nightmare. Not even worried about it, because we go up to the Eight of Wands, to the Nine of Pentacles. So it looks to me like you are overcoming something, or you are being led away from something. We have the fork in the road. It's like one path is the old path, and the new path is a new path. So I feel like you are being led down a new, towards a new journey, or whatever you want to call it. With the Three of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Wands. Definitely something new. Ace of Wands is out with the old, in with the new. The whole entire reading basically says out with the old, in with the new. Tower, Ten of Swords, right? And so I think you are just kind of like on an exciting new journey. The Ace of Wands would be exciting. The Ace of Wands is something that you desire to do. It's something that brings happiness and, fulfillment, or could potentially bring those things into your life. With the Page of Cups, you have the Queen of Wands again. So we have the Queen of Wands twice. The Queen of Wands says that you are very attractive at this time, very good card for getting attention. So, to me, the Queen of Wands is the card of seduction, and it doesn't matter what gender you are. If you want love, the Queen of Wands basically says it would be a good time to put yourself out into the world or to get attention from people. Same thing with work or business, though. Again, if you are working on a specific project, or if you have a business and you need more attention to get more clients or more customers, then I think it would be an amazing time to look at how you communicate with the world. I mean, that is like the key word with that Eight of Wands. I think it's like what vibe does your business give off, right? And I think working on that this month would be an amazing use of your time. You go up to the Nine of Pentacles, so it would probably lead to more money. With the Nine of Swords, you have the Temperance card. I feel like you're no longer waiting for something. It's almost like the Temperance card is saying to me, to you, that you've been patient enough, right? Like I feel like you've been patient enough, and you're kind of just deciding to maybe let something go in your life that just isn't working. With the Nine of Swords, it could be anything. It could be a connection, it could be a business, it could be whatever, and I think you're just moving past it. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Approve card and you have this Remember card. So I feel like you are remembering why you are doing something or working on like a project or a business in your life. I'm a big fan of having a why. Like, why are you doing the things that you do in your life, and why is it important for you to do the things that you do, right? Because when we have a why, then it gives us a reason. And I think that with the Nine of Wands here, he is kind of leaning on that staff that he has in front of him, or the wand that he's holding on to. And one of my favorite people of all time, and sorry, I'm losing my voice apparently, Les Brown says that, during the hard times, that your reasons will be your rod and your staff that guide you. And so, the Nine of Wands always reminds me of that. It always reminds me of having a good reason to do something, like accomplish a goal, or, build that business, or to start that family, or whatever it is that you're doing. Having a good reason for it will, during the hard times, will kind of get you through the hard times. And I actually don't think there are hard times. I think that this is just saying that your reasons have kind of been guiding you and moving you forward, and so remembering why you are doing what you're doing will continue to push you forward. And I think that's what the Nine of Wands is really talking about. You have the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is quick success, and there definitely could be a quick success here. We go from that Three of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, to the Eight of Wands. And the Eight of Wands is also kind of like the communication that you give to the world. And so I think that you could also be communicating your reasons as well, as to like why you are doing something in your life, or why something is important to you. And that could be a good thing. Those wands, traditionally this was a card of shooting your arrows of love. And it's like you're telling the universe what you want, and the universe is responding. But, I also think that Eight of Wands could be you telling the universe, pretty much everything that you want in your life. And it's like you're sending those vibrations out into the universe, and the universe is responding. Now, the Eight of Wands, some of those wands are like back here, some of them are up here. So the Eight of Wands reminds us that like sometimes some of our requests, get to where they're going faster than others. And that's popping into my head. I almost never say that on the Eight of Wands. So, it must be important, because it is popping into my head. It's like some things will land at the right time, and, other things won't land at the right time. And it might just take a little time. And I think you need to understand that. But also, like I said, I think really how you communicate something to the world is probably the most important message in the entire reading, not even just this card. But, I think that working on your messaging is going to be important. You have the Emperor. The Emperor is all about taking the lead in kind of like being leader, taking action. And so you could be in a position where you are taking action on the things that you want and desire in your life. And again, I think that would be a good thing. I also just kind of see you being a leader at this time. So I really don't have much to say there other than, good job. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Ace of Cups. We have two aces right at the top here. Two aces is a definite yes to any question that I haven't answered. The Ace of Cups is your emotions overflowing, being really happy. This could be you opening up to a love offer. But like I always say, the Ace of Cups can also just be anything that you can do endlessly. That Ace of Cups, the cup can reach down into the water and fill itself back up. So the Ace of Cups is a self-filling cup. This could be you, starting a new business where you could do it endlessly. And I don't suggest that you do, but it's just saying, like, are you doing the things that allow you to fill yourself up, or are you doing things that steal your energy? And sometimes I think the Ace of Cups is kind of talking about balance in a certain way, because it's saying make sure to do the things that fill you up. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Moon card. A lot of people have been getting the Moon card. Kind of makes sense to me with Mercury retrograde, because the moon can represent a period of time where there has been like fears, fantasies, illusions, or maybe things have not been exactly clear to you in your life or where you're going. And so the Moon card, when it comes up, especially after a retrograde, could actually say that you're getting a lot of clarity on your path. And I kind of do feel that for you. I still would like to see more. So I would love for the sun to come up, for example, or, even the star. I would take that as well. But I kind of intuitively feel that you are getting into a place of clarity. One thing I will say is the Queen of Wands, she has this sunflower that she's holding on to. And the sunflower points towards the sun. And so she uses that sunflower to guide her. It basically says she's being guided by her inner joy, her inner happiness, her desires. And you have the Ace of Wands, which is a card of inspiration. The Ace of Wands says you need to follow your inspirations, and the Queen of Wands definitely does. So at least, it looks to me like there is guidance. With the Emperor, you have the Magician. The Magician says that you are in a time of heightened manifestation. Also, he has a snake right here. I always say that the Magician is really a card of reinvention. And so, again, I think a lot of you, if you have a job, a business, or career, it's like you could be reinventing your message. Like I said, with that Eight of Wands, which seems to be very important. So, like how you present something to the world could be important at this time, and that's what you could be reinventing. I highly recommend it because it looks to me like doing that will... just changing your messaging or upgrading your messaging could lead to the nine of Pentacles. Next, you cannot make this up. In the area of messages from your future self, you have this parrot. It says, watch your words, right? So pay attention to your messaging. You have this lion spirit. It says, be generous of spirit. I would change that watch your words to, again, we communicate with everything. We communicate with our face. We communicate with our body language. We communicate with how we dress, all that stuff. And for whatever reason, I feel like this is going to be super important for you this month. So again, dress to impress, right? And it doesn't even have to be your clothes. I think that there are a million things that you could probably go out and learn about the message you are giving off with your any type of communication that you could possibly imagine. And I would just pick one and work on it. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't work on everything, right? I would pick one thing at a time and kind of like change the way that you communicate. If you're in social media or you work in social media, I'm telling you right now, this is a very good reading. So again, you could be changing the way you communicate on social media, or, if you have a business, you could be using social media, which I think would be also a great thing for you to do. But again, I think for all of you, it would be an amazing time to look at how you communicate with everything. You have the Nine of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords, and the Queen of Wands. The Nine of Pentacles is about being very independent. She's also a card of focus. She is training her focus. She has this falcon on her hand here, and it kind of represents the fact that she is training herself how to focus on whatever she's trying to create. So a lot of you could be paying attention to your focus. The Nine of Pentacles is also about like creating heaven on earth and, creating a really nice environment. So a lot of you could be like upgrading your environment or creating an environment of success. You have the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is charging forward towards a success. So I kind of feel two things here. I feel very back and forth on the Knight of Swords in your reading. Like on one hand, I feel like you are clearly making success quickly. You have the Eight of Wands, which is like quick success. And, the Knight of Swords is a card of momentum for me. So I always say whenever the Knight of Swords comes up, make sure that you are maintaining the momentum, meaning keep doing the things that you're doing that are working, double down on those things to keep the momentum going. On the other hand, again, if you're getting into a connection, I would slow things down with the Knight of Swords. And what I mean by that is I wouldn't just like rush right into something, and let me just explain kind of like what I feel here. I feel that if you have recently, like meaning over the last year or two, gotten out of a connection that, sometimes when we get out of a difficult, especially if it was like a difficult connection that you didn't want to leave or that ended badly, sometimes I think when we get like the next connection we get into, if we have been in a bad one, it's like we try to overcorrect and we almost try to do too much. And I feel like that's what this is saying. It's like saying, treat any new connections as new connections. Don't try to overcorrect because of the last one. Sometimes we try to avoid pain. So to avoid the pain, it's like we do things to avoid the pain, but by doing things to avoid the pain, we create the pain, right? And so I feel like this is saying, start from a blank slate, especially if you meet a new person, right? Like just start over and don't try to like overcorrect. And that's the feeling I get there. You have the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands is about needing to be very bold and assertive and like really go for what you want. I'm not too worried about it because you have the King of Wands right here, and the King of Wands says that you are going to be bold, confident, assertive in this month, and you are going to go for the things that you want and desire. So again, I'm not too worried about it. One thing I will say is, again, I think it's a great time. I literally feel we are in a time where we have to follow our bliss to change the world. So, again, anything that brings love, joy, happiness into your life, I would do more of it. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Ten of Wands. A lot of Ten of Wands energy, not even just for this set of readings, but also I just did those rest of the year readings, and pretty much everyone had the Ten of Wands. So I would make sure that you're doing things that are efficient, that you're not getting lost in the sauce, as they say, as the kids say nowadays, right? Make sure that you're kind of like doing things that are actually working. Ten of Wands, he is kind of like too close to the problem. He has those wands, but they're covering up his face in front of him, and he can't really see like the forest through the trees, right? So sometimes I think with the Ten of Wands, we need to simplify. We need to get rid of burdens that don't belong to us. I think a lot of us, especially spiritual people, I think we take on the problems and the responsibilities of the world, right? And so the Ten of Wands says put those burdens down so you can see where you're going, and I definitely feel that for you. With the Knight of Swords, you have the Five of Pentacles. Yes, a feeling of inadequacy, right? So Five of Pentacles is feeling left out in the cold. It's almost like you're feeling like you're going to be left out in the cold before you get left out in the cold. But again, sometimes like we try to overcorrect, we get into a relationship and maybe we talk too much or we communicate too much because we're like, oh, I have to talk to this person so they don't run away from me. But I feel like this is saying, play it cool, be cool, right? And as long as you do that, you'll be fine. Five of Pentacles literally says, do not call attention to your weaknesses, right? With the Queen of Wands, you have the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is juggling. Ten of Wands is doing too much. So I would make sure that, again, you're doing what's important and you're getting rid of doing the things that aren't important. Next, you have in the area of the good stuff, you have this quick silver moon. It says changes. You have this howling at the moon. It says process your feelings. So it could be a good time, like, to ask yourself, why do I overgive in connections or, whatever. That's just one example. You're all different, so you all probably do something different in connections, but it might be a good time to, like, process those emotions and see why you do the things that you do. And when you have an answer, then you can stop doing it, right? You have the Tower, the Ten of Swords, and the King of Wands. This to me looks like seeing reality, right? The Tower and the good stuff could say that you're avoiding a tower moment, but the whole point of the Tower is that these people are coming down to earth and they're seeing reality. But again, it's coming up in the good stuff, so it could just be like a light bulb moment or a sudden inspiration, especially with the Ace of Wands as well. So if you have any sudden inspirations, follow those inspirations. They're probably leading to a big change. And this other card says change on it. The Tower can just represent a change, and so clearly there could be a change. You have the Ten of Swords, which again would be a blessing in disguise. He's making a symbol right here, and it's the same symbol that the Hierophant is making on his card, and it represents a blessing. So again, I feel that really in the good stuff, this could just say there is a blessing in disguise coming in for you. You also have the King of Wands, and the King of Wands is about being bold, being assertive, really going for what you want. So I think it would be an amazing time for you to like really go for the things that you want and desire in your life. So it could be anything, like accomplishing a goal, accomplishing a dream, whatever. Also, if you do want love, not really a love reading, but there is love here. We have the King and Queen of Wands. So this would represent a connection with like a lot of desire, and there could be a really good connection coming in for you. With the Tower, you have the Two of Wands. Two of Wands is about taking the lead and kind of like getting out into the world. So it could be an amazing time for you to get out into the world. With the Ten of Swords, you have the Five of Swords. Yeah, definitely leaving something in the past. But obviously, it's a good thing. It's coming up in the good stuff. So whatever you're walking away from, this would be about, in the good stuff, would be about you walking away victorious. So you are walking away from something and being the winner, which is good. With the King of Wands, you have the Lovers. So, again, definitely could be a very solid love connection. But you do also have this Fork in the Road card. And so this Fork in the Road card is about picking this new path right here. And again, the Lovers can sometimes represent kind of like being at a crossroads or having a choice to make. And so again, if you do have a choice to make, this would say, pick the new path. You have this wheel. It says indecisiveness, allowing your life to ramble aimlessly. Nine of Swords. This card always reminds me of the Nine of Swords. It's like that round and round type of feeling. But the good news is I feel like you're making decisions and you're leaving that behind. You have this Vine card. It says, seek out information that will help you. Cannot make this stuff up. Again, what I would be researching if I were a Virgo, after this reading, I would be looking for how I present my business, right? Even if you don't have a business, how do you present yourself to the world? And I would be researching like how we communicate with our body or clothing or whatever it is for you. And I would make sure that what you are communicating matches what you want. And I think, that is like the one thing that you should work on this month. And I think that will have the biggest impact in your life. So that's what I would focus on. You have this elephant. It says a long journey, either physical or mental, will leave you wiser at the end. So you've been on a long journey, 10 of Wands. And, again, the good news about the 10 of Wands is we always get something for what we've done. So he has learned a lot on that journey, and now he is getting the reward. You have this nest. It says an emotionally secure and loving family is important to you. So some of you might be looking to start a family in the near future. You also have this October card and this fire card. It says strong emotions, passionate love or hate. So by the time we get to October, you could be building up a lot of emotions at that time. I would make sure it's love, not hate, obviously. But this looks really, really good, Virgo. I like it. So thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your month.